Good evening, what caught my eye listeners. Welcome back for the 2026 NBA playoff preview. Another edition. I'm here coming right at you as the playoffs have just begun and underway. And I am back here to talk to you basically about the four biggest questions and things that I'm looking forward to most for this edition of the NBA playoffs. We already saw some great games so far in the play-ins, including Golden State Warriors finding the spirit of youth, the spring of youth, with a big win against the Clippers. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done against the Suns. But again, just what a joy it is to see Steph Curry and Draymond Green just playing like we've always are accustomed to seeing them playing in the playoffs. You know, a lot of things in life change. A lot of things come and go, friends, relationships, life events, memories, experiences. But the one thing that seems to not change is Steph Curry getting me to yell after every big shot that he takes from deep. Because even though I think it's going in, it still amazes me when it actually does go in. It's one of the few players, the only player I can think of that still makes me do that, has ever made me do that. And seeing him just come through again and again, just like it's 2015, 2016. And then seeing Draymond Green and his defensive presence and his intensity and tenacity, it's just a beautiful thing to watch. And I think it was very apparent and obvious to anyone who watched that game that Draymond Green is one of the best perimeter defenders to ever be on a court in any NBA playoff game, NBA regular season, NBA history. So it was just a beautiful game to watch, a lot of fun. It took us back. And honestly, it kind of makes me now a little bit it makes me look forward to next year because it seems like these guys can still do it. They just need a little bit more help. They need a little bit more scoring help. So can they get a guy like Giannis? Can they go and maybe package with Porzingis with a trade with the first round pick and maybe get someone a little bit more available and a little bit better scoring? But anyways, that's not why I'm here to talk, but I just had to mention Golden State because if you didn't get to see that game, it was a joy and a little appetizer, a nice little, savory appetizer before the main feast, which is obviously underway and coming right at us. So not to waste any time here, I'm going to take us through four things that I'm looking forward to most here, these NBA playoffs, and to get excited and to look forward as you're watching. Number four, okay? This is a quick one. This is just kind of a funny, just in game to watch, series to watch, because it's basically, I'm titling this, Which Old Guy Will Win? And it's basically Lakers versus Rockets. LeBron is 41, Durant is 37. And it's going to be interesting because no matter who wins, they're going to get blown out by OKC the next round. So it's kind of this just like interesting fun, like, oh, look at this. This is cute. These two old guys, these legends who have been dominant in the league for so long. It's fun to see them go at it and really take this really seriously. But in the back of our minds, we're kind of like, oh, this is getting cute and all, but like next series, no team has a chance against the Thunder. No, now I will say this, to cut them some slack and to give them their flowers, as the kids say, Durant's having an unbelievable season. When you really look at what he's doing, it's an all NBA season. It's a 50-40-90 for the most part. He's 87 from the goal line. That's holding him back from the 90% free throw percentage. But I mean, he's 41% from 3, 57% from 2, and yeah, like we said, 87% from free throw line. So he's having a 40-50-90 at his 37 age season. He's played 78 games. He's played 36 and a half minutes. I mean, I know I'm calling him the old guy, but he's having one of his best seasons. Honestly, when you look back at it, he's one of his best three-point shooting seasons. I'm looking back, the only last time he played 78 games was 2018. Like, he's been consistent. He's played in games. His offensive, his points per game at 26 is consistent to what he's been like season after season. So he's having a great season. Now, we did just see the first game one, and he did not play. And that concerns me because, again, he's 37, and it's knee issues, leg issues. We don't really know what it is. We hope he can come back because, obviously, it showed that Rocket team needs him. And the Lakers took game one, and it's surprising, but I mean, we've seen how much Durant means to this Rockets team. And it goes to show, this Rockets team shows once again that every team needs a point guard. You need a point guard still in the NBA. As much as we're trying to get away and anyone can bring the ball up, all five guys can handle, they really don't have a point guard. They're trying to make Shepherd a point guard, but he's not comfortable in that position right now. He's more of a catch and shoot three guy. And so it hurts him. It hurts him sometimes to get an offense. It kind of looks a little stagnant. And they have a real issue if Durant's going to be out here for a few more games. And we'll see, too, on the Lakers side, if Doncic is going to come back. We have no idea. He went over to Europe to get some injections, and who knows what that means and who knows what that timetable means. But, the Rockets here the pressure's on them. Lakers don't have two of their three best players in Reeves and Doncic. The pressure's really on the Rockets. And if they don't win this series, not only is that a bad look for Durant, but it's really a bad look for the Houston Rockets coaching staff. I mean, they went all in on this season, and everyone was counting on them to be a top 3 seed. They did not make the top 3 seed, and losing game 1 doesn't help the pressure. And they really need Durant. And as much as I call it the old man game, Durant is going to be an all NBA league guy. He's going to be on one of the 3 all NBA teams. So they need him, and they need him back fast. But like I said, it's no matter what, OKC I think is going to win in game 2. But let's just be in the moment. Let's enjoy. Let's be grateful and blessed to be able to still see LeBron and Durant in their age 37, 41-year-olds, selves still playing great basketball. Because we know that's, it's not gonna last for too long here. But it's like, it's like the NBA, it's like when you go to the rec center and you have the old guys playing because they get there early, and then all of a sudden, like the guys that just played college are coming after work and they're coming about, and it's fun to see those guys go compete against each other. But we know once that game is over, that might be the last game that they'll see on the pickup court. So we'll see what happens. Moving on. Number 4, are the bad boy Pistons truly back? They had a great series last season in the playoffs, and it was nice to see them be competitive. We just weren't sure how much of a step forward they would take this season. Some people thought they would even regress. And not only did they not regress, but they captured the East number 1 seed. And for most of the season, it wasn't even close. Obviously, they get it done with their defense, their physicality, and they have guys that are really contributing this year. Cade is playing again in an all-NBA level. Durant is making another step forward, averaging a double-double. Durant is 10.5 rebounds a game with about 19.5 points per game. And then Cade is a 24-10 guy. And they are a tough combo. They bring physicality. Cade is just continually brings that leadership and that presence on the court. And they, from 1 through 12, they bring a tenacity, a physicality, a competitive spirit. Even down the stretch, I really respect, even when they didn't need to win games down the stretch where they could have rested players, they did not, because they believe that's not their DNA. They come, they compete, they work, they outwork you, they out-compete, they're physical and they battle you, and they are basically the bullies on the block again. And I think Detroit really loves this team, and it really reminds them of their older teams. Now, can they get to where those bad boy teams got and succeed in the playoffs? We will see. The things that concern me about the Pistons, the 3-point field goal percentage can be suspect. They're 17th in the NBA, and not many teams outside the play-in teams are much lower than them. So when the games slow down and the defense rises, are they able to score at a high enough rate to, take them through some of these rounds? They don't have many shot creators. When Cade can't create shots, who else will create shots? They found a gem in Dallas Jenkins. He comes off the bench as like a mini microwave. He's the immediate threat off the dribble. When Cade was out the lung injury, he really had some great games and really kept them kind of in the winning mindset, in the winning mode, winning some games. And so that was a great surprise. And he's another guy that can create. But outside Cade and Dallas, Duncan's not creating shots. Kevin Huerter is not creating many shots. So when, the possessions are limited in the playoffs, when things are more physical, when it's harder to create shots and shot opportunities, if I'm playing the Pistons, I'm picking up Cade full court. I'm making him work. I'm trying to make him tired throughout the series. I'm going at him defensively because thinking of, games 5, 6, and 7, if his legs are shot and he's a little bit tired, who else is going to create for them? And so that one concerns me. But again, Duncan Robinson is a kind of revived year. He's a threat from three, shooting 40% from three. So he's the one guy you can kind of count on. He's averaging 12 points a game. But again, who else can create? So no, they're third best again in limiting 3-point field goal percentage. Defensively, they're third in defensive rating, like I said. So they can rely on their defense, but how far can that take them? Will other teams be able to find ways to outscore them? The first time this young team has really, basically, they're not the underdogs anymore. Last year, they were the underdogs. Pressure wasn't on them. Now as the number one seed, heavy lies the crown of that one seed. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And, as someone whose dad and extended family's from Detroit, I'm kind of pulling for them and hopefully they can come back. But we'll see. We'll see. Moving on. Number 2. Can Jokic lead his team back to the finals? / can anyone beat the Thunder? And in my mind, this is the team that can beat the Thunder. They took them to 7 games with really not many players playing well in that series, with many guys hurt, including Aaron Gordon, and they really had no bench. I mean, Jokic was doing everything, and they still took him like 7 games last year. So now with a better bench, with a healthy Aaron Gordon, knock on wood, with a healthy Jamal Murray, again, Jamal Murray might be squeaking in as an all-NBA guy this year, having an unbelievable season. Can they get back to the finals? And can Jokic win his second NBA championship? Which, if you have to knock anything, and in years from now, if you could knock Jokic on something, people are going to look at that one NBA championship and they're going to question, when really has nothing to do with him. I mean, he's basically dragged them with not much help in recent years. So can they get back to the finals? With that being said, can we talk about Nikola Jokic? I know there's a lot of debate right now on NBA MVP, but I truly believe we're going to look back at this years from now, and if he's not the MVP, we're going to be like, what were we doing? Seriously, that is going to be something that I think years from now, if he doesn't win the MVP, people are going to really it's going to be one of those MVPs like they've done with a few others before, with like, what were the voters on? And it might be voter fatigue of Jokic, and he just is so consistent over the years. But what he's doing this season, he's having, you can make a case, one of the best one of his best offensive NBA seasons of his career. He leads, 1 second here as I pull it up here. He leads Jokic. Look at his NBA statistics. He is top 10 in points. He leads the NBA in assists per game. He leads the NBA in rebounds per game, and he leads the league in offensive rating. What more do you want? If you look at his NBA seasons, I mean, look at his averages right now. He is right now for the season averaging 28.6 points per game. He's averaging 0.3 rebounds per game, which is, by the way, the number one most rebounds per game he's had in his career. And obviously he was number one in the league. He's averaging 11.1 assists per game, which is the most assists per game he's averaging. So he's top of his career in assists per game, rebounds a game, and at 28.6 is third of his career in terms of amount of points per game. He's shooting at a 57% clip from 2 and a 38% clip from 3. He's also, I mean, get this, he is tied for the number 1 defensive rating of his career, and he's also the best offensive rating of his career at 134. I mean, guys, what are we doing? Like, why is this a debate? He, believable, he's having I would say you can make an argument, his best career, statistically speaking, best season of his career. And when we're talking about MVP, I think you really need to think about this. If SGA is not playing for the Thunder, are the Thunder still a top 4 seed in the West? If SGA is not playing for the Thunder, are they still a top 4 team in the West? And if you have to stop and think about it, that tells you everything you need to know. Now, if you want to make, hey, they could be 5th, 6th, okay. If Jokic is not on the Nuggets, what seed do you think they are in the playoffs? Do they make the playoffs? Aaron Gordon was out most of the year. So you have Jamal Murray, you have Braun, who is also out for much of the year. You have Peyton Watson. I mean, that is not a playoff team. That is not a playoff team. So without Jokic, the Nuggets not even close to a top 6 seed. They might not even make the playoffs, yet they were a 3rd seed finishing. It's not like this team when people are like, well, SGA is the number 1 seed, but the Nuggets are 3rd. If they were like 6th seed and Jokic was having the best team in his career, I could see he was like, hey, you know what, succeed. Like, sorry, SGA's having a real good, another really great season and the number 1 seed. I get that. Nuggets are a 3rd seed. You can't really use wins too much against Jokic. And again, if you just do the mental exercise, take SGA off the Thunder, they have 12 dudes that can go, right? That would start from many of the other teams. You take Jokic off the Nuggets, I mean, they might be in the lottery. Now that's saying a lot. I mean, that might be too far, but really think about who would be playing for him. And again, Aaron Gordon didn't play much this year. Braun didn't play much this year. Now they're finally healthy, which is again reason why I think they have a chance. I mean, what Jokic is doing is just he's got to be MVP, and Nuggets right now are also first in 3-point field goal percentage in the NBA. So I think that in years past that has been kind of the inconsistencies and why I think the Thunder end up winning that series last year. So I think they have a chance here, a real chance, and I can't wait to see what the Nuggets do this playoff round. Hopeful, praying that everyone can stay healthy on that team because what Jokic is doing is just unbelievable. Now, by the way, just so you know, people are also making the claim for Victor to be an MVP candidate. He just doesn't play much. His minutes per game are way lower than the other guys. Right now, when you're looking at minutes played per game, Jokic is 35. Victor is under 30. So, I know why they're doing it. They're trying to keep him fresh. He's young. But to me, I still think you got to give it Jokic, and you got to play more if you want to be an MVP consideration in terms of minutes per game. So I can't wait to see what that goes on with that. Okay, moving on to my number 1 thing to watch out and look out for this NBA playoffs is, speaking of Victor Wembanyama, right? Is Victor ready to take the playoff physicality? And is this young Spurs team ready to really compete for a championship? Okay, obviously Wemby's having a great season, but playoff basketball is different than regular season basketball. I mean, it is night and day. It is way more physical. The refs do not cause much fouls, common fouls, the touching, the grabbing, the holding, the pushing, right? You could already see some games where it kind of hurt him than some. We saw the injury end of the season a little bit. And the intensity and the pressure is way higher. And for a lot of guys, it's very tough, especially early on. Every great went through it. Jordan had to learn how to win in the playoffs. Excuse me. Bron had to learn how to win in the playoffs. Booby had a first few really bad playoff games early on in his career. So I think, a lot of people are picking him. A lot of people think as the dark horse. Is Victor ready, and is he ready to take this? People are going to beat him up when they play. What's interesting is going to be this Blazers team, which has some centers and some center depth that, we'll see right away if Victor's ready to take this physicality. But then if they beat the Blazers, he's going to face Jokic, a playoff vet who plays even better in the playoffs. Aaron Gordon, Valanciunas, who's had some playoff series and is an experienced playoff center, who's super physical, and they're just kind of going to wear him out. Also, Victor Wembanyama, again, we talked about it before, not playing many minutes per game. Is that going to stay true in the playoffs? Are they going to increase it? And if they increase it, those are harder minutes. Is he going to get worn out over a 7-game series? Again, in my mind, that's something not only look forward to, but that's the reason why I'm not taking the Spurs as a legit, I'm not picking them to one. I wouldn't pick them to beat the Nuggets if everyone's healthy. And I'm definitely not picking them against OKC. The other reason is they got other young guys in the backcourt. It's not like he's the only rookie with a bunch of vets. They have Castle, who hasn't played playoff basketball. They have Harper Jr., who hasn't played playoff basketball. And so a lot of the easy drives that they were getting before, the uncontested threes, that's going to be different. And can they rise to the challenge? Okay. So yes, positives. They played and won against good teams in the regular season. They're second in defensive rating. They can always rely on their defense. So even if the offensive struggles come in spurts, they can rely on their defense to kind of hold the scoring runs at bay for the other teams when their offense seems to be struggling or goes in droughts. They're 8th best in limiting field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage. So I think that's something to be looking, And also Victor's just an alien, right? And it's super hard to guard him. And people are going to have to learn how to guard him in a 7-game series on the flip side. But just like the Pistons, they're not great from the three-point line. They'll go games where they just are dreadful from the three-point line. And does that come back and hurt them with not enough consistency from the three-point line? You know, they're 15th in the NBA at 35%. You know, again, the only teams that weren't playing teams that were worse than them are the Raptors and the Pistons. So it's something to be concerned about. And I think people really forget how different playoff basketball is. And so I think that's something to just watch, not maybe in games 1 or 2 in the series, but going forward, games 5, 6, and 7, when those minutes and those every other day's games start happening. And that's going to be super interesting. So my pick, I think it's going to be Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals versus the Thunder. And I think in the East, I think the winner of the Knicks Celtics is probably in a good spot to be. I don't know if I trust the Pistons offense. Now they can shock me with their defense and they can just carry them just like the Pistons of teams have passed, even in 2000, I believe, what was that, 2004, when the NBA when they made the NBA Finals. I'm sorry. Yeah, 2004, I was right. When they won the NBA championship. You know, can they do that? Sure, but the Celtics, the way they're looking, the Knicks, you know, they've been knocking on the door for a while. You know, I think that Celtics-Knicks series is going to be one of the best in the playoffs. You know, granting the Celtics get past the Sixers and the Knicks get past the Hawks, which I think both will do just fine. That Celtics-Knicks series, and I think the Knicks could beat the Celtics. The way Towns can attack the Celtics bigs, the way the Knicks have really good 3-point perimeter defense against Jalen and Tatum, and we're going to preview that series if it does happen. But I do think the Knicks Celtics, the winner of that series, will get to the finals of the finals of the NBA playoffs. So I think it's Pistons, the winner of Knicks Celtics, and then in the Western Conference, I think it's Thunder Nuggets. I'll go with the Nuggets, and I think it's time Jokic gets his second one. I think it's time, and everyone seems to be back healthy. Their bench is a little bit better. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll be talking soon here. So some more previews, especially in the NBA Finals. We'll have another preview as well. So can't wait. Hopefully, you guys are all as excited as I am. And hopefully, you're looking at those 4 things that I brought up. Have a good one.